If you're neurodivergent, you are probably lacking in self-love. Today, we're going to be talking about why that is, and I am going to give you 5 tips to help you love yourself more. I'm Kath, a late diagnosed ADHD and autistic woman. What is self-love? It is that care that we have for ourselves and that ability to love ourselves for who we are and feel worthy for who we are. And I think it's something that is close to my heart and probably yours as well. As a neurodivergent person, you have probably spent your life masking or spent a lot of your time masking. And even if you haven't, there's a good chance that you have felt maybe you felt like you're too much for people or not enough for people. And that can be based on what other people say to you. It can be based on how we feel in general. But that lack of self-love seems to be quite common among neurodivergent people. Personally, for me, I have experienced that a lot throughout my life. But after 11 years of working on my mindset and on myself, I have now got to a place where I can say that I love myself. Not in any kind of arrogant way, but in a way that we all should be able to love ourselves. I am not saying it's going to take you 11 years, because the things I've learned in 11 years, I'm going to be teaching you today to help you get on track to loving yourself, especially when you've probably spent a lot of your years feeling like you don't. My first tip is gratitude. You have probably heard this everywhere. Everything you look at with regards to self-help, spirituality, or anything else. The reason gratitude is so commonly talked about is because it works and because it changes you as a person. I can actually go as far as saying that gratitude changed my life a lot. At my darkest time in life, gratitude was one of the main things I did for myself that really pulled me out of it. So I've always been a grateful person, and you may be a grateful person too, as in like saying please and thank you and appreciating things like that. But to practice true gratitude is to be grateful for those things that we often take for granted. So, for example, just having a roof over our heads at a time in life where there's always been people who don't have that. Having a roof over your head is something to be grateful for. Things that happen during your day that small things that might be a smile from a stranger that's cheered you up when you've been feeling down. But actually recognising that thing that you're grateful for and acknowledging it in your mind, it goes a long way. It's really powerful. So my first tip for you is practice gratitude daily. And even if that is thinking of one thing you're grateful for every day or 3 things you're grateful for every day, try to, if you want to do it at the end of the day before you go to bed, and think about the day that you've just had. What things have you been grateful for? Some days are going to be harder than others, but still try and think of something that you are grateful for, because if you look deeply enough, you will find it. What happens is when we start practicing gratitude, it changes our mindset so much. It makes us automatically, once that habit sets in of practicing daily gratitude, we automatically start to see the good in things. We start to appreciate the little things in life that maybe we didn't notice before. So it's really, really powerful. And that overall has a positive effect on our own well-being, which just in general makes us feel happier. It makes us feel like more love towards the world and therefore also towards ourselves. Tip number 2 is replace negative thoughts or words with positive or at least neutral ones. You might be able to hear my dog playing with his toys in the background, so that's what that noise is. So the theory is with this is we think so many thoughts every single day, and a lot of them are negative. Even if we are positive people, a lot of the thoughts that come into our head are negative, and some people are more positive than others, and this is not about toxic positivity in any way. But say if you're a person who is used to thinking negative things about yourself or saying negative negative things to yourself, like when you look in the mirror thinking, oh, I feel ugly, I look fat, whatever it is you may say, just stop for a moment. Every time you have a thought like that, think about how powerful words are and what that is doing to you. Words, it's been scientifically proven, sorry, he's squeaking his toy. It's been scientifically proven that words are so powerful that they affect water and they affect cells. We are made of something like 70% water, if not more. And every time we speak, words are so powerful that they have the ability to change our cells and to change our whole being. So when you're speaking negatively to your body, you're programming that into yourself. So we're going to stop that now. If you can't bring yourself to say something positive instead of something negative. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, every time, if you think a negative thought or you say a negative thing about yourself or about others, you can do it about others as well. Try and stop yourself there. Recognize. First step is recognize that negative thought or that negative sentence you've just said. And then I want you to replace it with something else. You can replace it with something positive. You can replace it with the absolute opposite if you want. For a lot of people, that doesn't feel realistic for them. It feels a bit fake. So in that situation, replace it with something neutral. So if, for example, you were feeling ugly and you said to yourself, or you thought to yourself, I feel so ugly. If you can't bring yourself to say, I feel beautiful today, that might feel too much for you. You can at least say, I'm worthy as I am. Something that's a little bit, it's positive, but it's a bit more neutral. Or you could say, everyone's different and that's beautiful. Or just, you know where I'm going with this. Just say something that feels comfortable for you, but that isn't as negative as the first thing you said. And what will happen is, over time, even if you can't bring yourself to say the really positive thing, keep on with the neutral things because it's still better than what you were saying before. And then you'll get to a point where you will feel more able to say something more positive than that. Tip number 3 is change one thing to respect your body or your mind. And this is literally as simple as, let's say, for example, you know that you've not been eating well, or you've been eating a lot of junk food, for example. I know that a lot of people who are neurodivergent struggle with food and textures and things like that. So this is not about shaming anyone for what they eat. But if you are a person who knows that you don't feel good when you've been eating maybe a lot of junk food, and you know there are things you could eat that would improve your health and improve the way you feel about yourself, this is about changing one thing. So for example, if you would normally eat a whole pizza and it makes you feel a bit sick, but you want to eat it because you really like it. I used to do that all the time. I used to be eating a meal, particularly like if it was a pizza or a chippy or something like that, and because I'd be full, but because I loved it, I'd carry on eating and then I'd feel sick. Instead of doing that, that one change could be stopping when you're full. It could be as simple as that. It could be having one less slice of pizza and replacing it with a bit of salad. Or it could be replacing one thing on your plate, and like, say for example, you had a meal which was usually full of unhealthy things, just taking one thing off that's unhealthy and putting one thing on that is healthy. It's not so much about depriving yourself. It might be about having a bit less of something that you know is bad for you. And when I mean bad for you, again, not in a way to shame anyone, I mean something that makes you feel bad. Because at the end of the day, when we eat things that make us feel good, we feel good. When we eat things that make us feel bad, we feel bad. And that's just a simple fact. It's not about shaming anyone. It's about just replacing something. It might be that it's not to do with your diet. It might be that it's to do with your mind. and you know that, for example, you get stuck scrolling on social media and then you end up reading loads of things about the world and it makes you feel down. That's me. Like, I don't watch the news, but that is me. I end up accidentally reading things, and then I'm thinking about them constantly, and it spirals then, and then I end up feeling down. So, for example, if you know you do that like I do, it might be that, can I delete my app for that social media? And if it's still there, if I need to log in to go on it, but can I delete my app? Can I trust myself to limit my time on my phone? Can I, sorry, he's playing with his toys again. Can I maybe schedule a particular time where I'm going to look at certain things, even if you feel the need to read those things? Could you allow yourself maybe 5 to 10 minutes at a certain time of the day, or once a week or whatever, where you're going to read that, and then you're going to try not to look at those things at other times? It could be something like that. It's just about changing something small. If you change too much at once, it's going to feel overwhelming, and it's never ever going to stick as a habit. He's just raiding his toy basket and he's trying to choose a toy, and he's taking ages doing it, so I'm just giving him a minute. Tip number 4 is learn to set boundaries. This is essential for self-love. When we often overgive as neurodivergents, or we feel that we need to fit in with the situation, so we'll go along with other people's plans when it's something we don't want to do. This often leads to like autistic burnout, and it leads to meltdowns and shutdowns, and it's just so important to learn how to set boundaries. I am going to link a video at the end teaching you how to set boundaries, because once you learn, it is so empowering, and it's the ultimate act of self-love to be able to say no to someone, to be able to, not in a rude or a negative way, you can set boundaries and be kind at the same time. It's not about being aggressive or anything like that. It's so important. I used to be a people pleaser. I used to say yes to things I didn't want to say yes to. I used to feel like I had to do it because I didn't want to upset someone, or I didn't want to feel rejected by someone. So I would say yes to things that I didn't have the time to do. I would say yes to things that were going to affect my life negatively because it was going to help someone else. And I'm not saying don't help people, because I absolutely still help people, but learning how to set boundaries in certain situations is so important. I will link that video at the end, and I really hope that it's helpful for you. Tip number 5 is do something that brings you joy each day. Now, this can be something as small as having your favourite cup of coffee, or having a bit of time to read a paragraph of your book or a few pages of your book that you're reading, or to do something like a hobby that you're interested in, whether that be like gaming, or whether it be, like for me, it would be working on my family tree. I love that. I absolutely love genealogy. Just something like that. Watching your favourite TV show, listening to your favourite song, just making time for joy in your life. It is so hard when you especially when you get stuck in a rut and you're feeling overwhelmed. Sometimes one of the first things that goes is things that bring us joy, because it might be that you're a busy parent, or you're at work, or you're struggling with your mental health or whatever it may be. And when we do things that bring us joy, that naturally increases our self-love, because we're doing something for ourselves. We're showing ourselves we are a priority, and that is really important. Here are 2 bonus tips that I think are essential to work alongside the other tips I've just given you. So the first one is to do one habit at a time. Choose one of the things off this list and practice it daily, and let it stick as a habit first. They say that it takes 21 days to form a habit. The truth is, yeah, that's true for a lot of people. It can be slightly more, slightly less for some people. But once you get into a daily practice and you're doing that regularly, it will become a habit. I have studied neuroplasticity, and what is happening is neurolinguistic programming as well. So what happens is we have these neural pathways in our brain, and if you think of it as like a pathway, and as you're walking along that pathway, it will light up. So in our brain, when we're doing something that we do every day, let's say something that, say you're talking negatively about yourself and you always do it, you've already got a pathway in your brain for that. And so every time you begin to speak negatively about yourself, your brain's like, right, okay, we've done this before, it's easy, this is what we do. And it'll go along the pathway, those lights will light up, and there you go, it's done. Now, what we're trying to do is break that habit. So every time you, going back to what we mentioned before, if you're speaking negatively about yourself, we're going to stop that habit. We stop it in its tracks and we start replacing it with either a neutral or more positive comment or thought. And what your brain's going to do is think, okay, this is different. So it might be that when you do that once, it lights up one light along a new pathway. And then you'll do that again and it thinks, okay, we've done this once before. It'll light up the first light, it might light up a second light. And then as you can see, the more you do it, the more it lights up that pathway, and it is actually creating a new neural pathway in your brain, and it weakens the old one. So the more you practice a habit, it creates a new neural pathway and the old one gets weakened. So that is exactly what we want. We want that negative self-talk pathway to be weakened, and we want a positive self-talk pathway to be strengthened. So the more you do it, the stronger it becomes and the weaker the negative one becomes. So habits, think roughly take around 3 weeks to form. So if you can bring yourself to practice that for at least 3 weeks, it should become like a second nature to you. Bonus tip number 2 is, I know a lot of you will love this, but if you need to make a checklist of your new habit you're trying to practice, do it. I love ticking boxes on a list. I know a lot of you do too. And it gives you that structure of remembering what you need to do. So even if you write down all 5 of these tips on a checklist and do it like Monday to Sunday, and just start off with a checklist for a week. And I am recommending you do one habit at a time, because it can be overwhelming to do everything at once because you're less likely to stick to it. If you can get that gratitude habit on board first, and I'm really sorry, next to me scratching, so he's adding loads of sound effects in this video, but if you can get that gratitude habit on board first and do that for 3 weeks, or it might be that you want to just do that for a few days till you get into the swing of it, or a week, and then bring in the second habit as well. But it's just about not overwhelming yourself. So that checklist could come in really handy, and a lot of us love a good list, don't we? Really hope this video has been helpful for you. Remember to subscribe and like this video, and as I say, I will now attach my video of how to set boundaries. Bye.